Hey, angels. Welcome to Zeta Phi Beta edition of Charli Right Now. Sex Talk with Charli. Hello, angels. How are you feeling? We're going to get started. I'm trying to get this Facebook Live started. I'm always having trouble with freaking Facebook Live, man. I'm telling you, this thing, I'm trying to do a duality, and this thing is always an issue. Like, I'm not a Facebook girl. Hello? I'm not a Facebook girl by any means, and that crap bothers me. But it's my Founders Day, y'all. And we are 100 years old. That shit is lit. Finally, feel like we're one of the last people to turn 100. But it's here, and we made it. And happy Founders Day to my fellow sorors. And I hope you guys all enjoy this amazing day because it's really something to celebrate. It's a milestone for my sorority, Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated, and I truly am happy to be a part of this sorority and just, share and partake in DC right now. So welcome to my live with Sex with Charli. We are going to get started, and let me get all ready. So obviously I'm out of town, so I'm not on my regular situation where I can have my posters and have my what's it call it? I don't have all of my props, if you will, but we're gonna have a great show today. As you saw before, we're gonna be talking about what do you do if your significant other, thank you for saying happy Founders Day. What do you do if your significant other, what do you do if your parents or if your significant other doesn't like if your parents or your kids don't like your significant other, like, how do you handle that? How do you navigate that? That can be so hard on so many different levels with people. It's because, like, it's hard. Like, just think about it. You're having two people that you really care about, your loved one, your family member, and they don't get along. Now, it's even harder, I think, in my opinion, I think it's harder when it's a situation where, like, the kids don't really like your partner. Let's say, you have kids obviously outside of the person you had kids with, and you have a relationship now, and you're trying to figure out how to navigate that whole dynamic with having kids and dating and all this other stuff. But the same thing goes, it could still be very hectic and freaking, like, have your head in a whole different space when your parents don't like your significant other either. Like, that can make you feel like some type of way. You don't want to bring them around. They have beef. It's like it could cause so much more drama than it really needs to be. And that is something that we're going to talk about today, because I want to know, number one, from y'all. And again, this is a live, so this is supposed to be for y'all to chime in. This is for y'all to give me feedback. This is an interactional conversation. This is not just me. I'm not going to be I will be just talking for the time that we have together, but I want to hear from y'all. Tell me what you think. Have you ever been, or do you know anybody who's ever been in a situation where their kids or their parents, like, hate their significant other, or they hate their girlfriend, they hate their boyfriend, and it could be for a good reason, or it could be just because they don't fuck with them. Like, simple as that. Like, have y'all ever been in that predicament? And if so, talk to me. Like, tell me what y'all did. How did y'all handle it? I'm gonna get a little closer to y'all, because I'm trying to get this going on Facebook Live. But how did y'all handle it? Did y'all kind of just ignore it and hope it went away? Did you put yourself in a predicament where you guys kind of like try to force your significant other onto your kids or your parents? Like, what did you do? How did you handle it? I got a few tips for y'all. I know I'm always late with this damn live on Facebook. It is what it is. I'm more so concerned about y'all here on Instagram. I love Instagram. Hello. I love Instagram so much better. I'm pretty sure y'all all probably agree that I'm pretty sure y'all all agree that it is kind of daunting on Facebook like that. I don't know. I can't navigate it. That shit is, there's too much stuff on there now. It's not like Facebook when I was in college. This joint is like, got a marketplace, got a dating website. I just want to see what's going on with my family and friends. Like, that's it. Like, it's just way too much going on there. But anyway, so I'm trying to go live on there. With that being said, let's talk about some of the things that goes on when your significant other is not liked by your parents or your kids. Like, how do you handle that? Is it a good situation? It's pretty much not. I can answer that for y'all. Like, it is not a good situation. But how do you make it work? All right, so I got some tips for y'all in relation to how you can make it work. All right, so in relation to parents, when your parents ain't fucking with your dad, with your boyfriend or your girlfriend or whatever the case is, when your parents get to a space when they're like they just walk in and they make this face. And they look at you like, that's your man's? that's your girl. That's your girl? Like, that's who you choosing? That, whoo, is like, listen, I've experienced that, okay? As a teenager, but I've experienced that with my mama, and I had a boyfriend, and he came in, and I wanted him to meet her, and he came in, and she literally gave him this look like, because, at the time, I was in high school, he just, wasn't the cutest thing, but it just read all over her face. Now I got a Jamaican mama, so she, she can't even help herself. She's kind of rude, but other people, I hope other parents can hold themselves a little bit better. All right. So I think if your child don't like your partner, you should leave. Wait, who should leave? Oh, you should leave the partnership? If your parents don't like your partner, you have to learn on your own. I like that. Here's your queen to be. I love that. Yes. That's a pretty good, summation, but it's kind of hard to just kind of like click it, especially in relation to the kids. A lot of people, so we'll start there then, since you guys broke that up, because that can be like a little bit tricky, especially when it comes to people who already have children. So let's start with the kids. Now, if your kids, depending on how old they are, don't like your significant other, it is definitely necessary to listen to them, regardless of the reason. When I say, I'm not saying to take what they're saying and run with it, but they're your kids. And at the end of the day, it's necessary. Like, they're always going to be around. It's been a lot of cases, obviously. We all know some. I'm sure you all know a woman or even a man that has chosen their significant other over their kids. And the problem with that is that, yeah, it may seem like okay in the moment, like, fine, F y'all, we just gonna do us. And in the moment, it's like, fine, we're living in our nice little happy bubble. But check this out. It's gonna come back around and bite you in the ass. Even if it doesn't, regarding the kids and their parent. Because even if the kids are young, let's say the kids are young and you just ignore it. For whatever reason, if that kid does not like your significant other, it's going to cause so much friction in that household. If you just really try to like cut the child out of the equation to put yourself just in an equation between you and this partner, it's going to cause so much trouble because your kid is a piece of you, whether you like it or not. Your kid is a piece of you. Your kid has a huge part in your life, if you're a good interactional parent. And the situation is going to lead to a lot of discourse because you're going to feel pulled literally in two different directions to the point that it's just going to be too unbearable. And yes, most likely, just like your queen to be says, you're going to want to leave. You're going to be like, you know what, it's too much headache. Let me just get rid of it. Or the opposite is going to happen where, let's say your kids are older. Let's say your kids aren't in the house, so it's not really necessarily that big of a problem, or like the dynamic is not that serious because they're not in the household at that time. So now you have a situation where your kid is an adult and they don't like your significant other. Okay, so now you and your significant other decide to get married. What if your kids don't support it? So now your kid's not going to come to the wedding? You cool with that? Like, I think a lot of people are not okay with that. And so if you're not okay with it, let's say now your kids are having children. Now you have grandkids. Now they still don't fuck with your spouse. Now you're not seeing your grandkids. It's going to come back around and bite you in the ass. Like, you really have to ask yourself, what is going on? Why don't they get along? So here's some tips. So number one, definitely listen to what your kids' concerns are, okay? More times than not, especially if they're adults, the kids are not going to say to their parents, like, I just don't like them. Well, why don't you like them? I just don't. I don't know. I don't like them. If that is the response that you're giving as a grown-ass person, you need to do some maturing of your own, that you can't obviously communicate or articulate why you have negative feelings towards another human being. Like, you should be able to articulate the reasons why. And if it's just a matter of, I just don't get good vibes from that person, then you still have to articulate to your parents that this situation, or your kids should be able to, your adult kids should be able to articulate to you that what is the substance behind you not liking them, and then go from there. More times than not, when we're out with the people outside of our relationships, like our parents, our kids, our best friends, our friends in general, aunts, uncles, cousins, whatever, the people who are outside of our relationship can kind of see a little clearer than you who's in that relationship. Because when you're in love, we all know this, it's like you're on drugs. Like, you know, if you don't know, let me teach you. Let me school you real quick. When you're in love, the same part of your brain lights up as if you are on drugs. Let that sink in. So, if you're talking about how this person is just so amazing and they're so great and you don't understand why your parents or your kids or whoever don't like them, they may be seeing something a little clearer than you are in that very moment, because more times than not, you have bear goggles on, cocaine bifocals, whatever you want to call it, rose-colored glasses for the love of people, but you are not thinking straight. When you're in love, you just don't. It's scientifically proven. Look it up. But anyway, I digress. Another tip. Why? Ask them why. So that goes along with what we were just talking about. Ask your kids what their concerns are. Definitely have more time, not only with the significant other and the kids, because that significant other needs to learn and kind of build a relationship on their own with your partner. With your kids. Your partner should have a relationship with your kids if you are at that step. But they should definitely try to have some type of individual relationship outside of you so they can cultivate that. And then maybe your kids can kind of warm up to their situation. So don't always separate them. However, you don't always want to keep pushing them together, because that's when shit can get a little drawn, okay? That's when things can get really sticky, like, especially if you have adult kids. You don't want them to get into, like, physical altercations or arguments or anything even worse than that. You just want to have a healthy interaction where sometimes they're together with you, sometimes they're together by themselves, and sometimes it's just you and your child and you, obviously, and your significant other. You have to take responsibility for that because you are the essentially the mediator in this all, and you cannot play the background. That is the biggest tip in this dynamic, with whether it's your kids or your parents and your significant other. You are the middleman. You cannot play the background. You can't act like, oh, they'll figure it out, they'll be better, they'll work it out, things will be cool. Nah, I'm telling you, that's a recipe for disaster. So get your head in the game and be the mediator that you need to be. You're the one who's introducing these two. You need to make sure that you are on even playing grounds for both ends, and making sure that the refereeing and the interactions are equal and cordial. So that brings us to the last tip in relation to our kids. Assure them that they're not being replaced. And by assuring them that they're not being replaced, you're making sure that you're having equal time, not only with your kids, but with your significant other. So, if you have young children and you're dating and you're building a relationship, hold on, I'm sorry. Hey, Nick. You're building a relationship with your significant other, but you have young children. Okay, two things. Number one, if you are that significant other who is dating somebody with children, you have to be respectful of the fact that they have children. Like, you can't expect them to always find a babysitter or always like skip town and leave town and like just kind of do things on the whim. That's really kind of irrational for you to think that that's okay. That's okay. Not only is it irrational for you to think that it's okay, but it's also irrational for you to think that it's healthy for them to have that sort of relationship with their kids. If you're just always like jet setting and going and leaving and like, oh yeah, baby, let's go that way together, that's not allowing you to come into their kids' lives in a stance that they will want to respect you and receive you. Your kids will, especially if they're young, their kids, your significant other's kids will look at you as the person who doesn't have kids as the enemy. Because you're the person who's taking their mommy or their daddy away. So you have to do what you need to do to respect the situation if you're coming in a situation where you don't have kids, but your significant other does. Now let's turn it back around in relation to your parents. You are the parent and you're bringing your kid and your significant other together. You have to make sure that you are playing equal time with equal parties. It can't be favoritism, because to some degree, your kids are going to feel, especially if it's a serious relationship. I'm not really just talking about like y'all just dating, y'all just interacting. We could talk about that another day, because honestly, I have my own reservations about how soon you should be introducing your kids to, your significant other. But that's a conversation for another day. But the interactions between the kids and you should definitely happen. And that person who has the kids needs to play mediator. So make sure that's occurring. All right. We're going to go lastly to the parents, but I'm not going to spend too much time on that. If your parents don't like your significant other, it's low-key kind of like the same tips. The only thing that you need to do is to make sure that the only difference is that you have to make sure that you implement boundaries. Because although your parents may have their best interests at hand, they damn sure should not be in your relationship. That is the biggest difference in relation to kids not liking your significant other versus parents not liking your significant other. At the end of the day, this relationship is between you and your partner. And your parents cannot be in your relationship. Like, I feel like I have to say this like another 5 times, but I won't today. But your parents cannot be in your relationship. You can listen to what they have to say. You can take into account what they're going to do, what their thoughts are and their feedback and their reasoning. But at the end of the day, as an adult, you have to make the decision. in relation to if this is something healthy for you and that person. Not you, your parents, and that person, because you have to boundary yourself off as an adult and as an individual to put yourself in alignment with the life that you're creating. We'll get there in a motivational moment. But I hope that's good for you guys. I hope you guys recognize the difference in what you have to do if your parents or your kids don't like your significant other, because that's a real problem, okay? That's not light. So take it seriously, especially if you don't have kids right now, but you may in the future, and you may or may not stay with that person. Just think about these tips. Don't forget them. All right, we're going to move on to our next segment. I don't even have, pretend like I have my poster boys, y'all. It's it's hashtag help me right now, Charli. We go to our quick next segment, and I'm not going to show y'all who wrote it, because don't try to zoom in on the screen. But I have a letter from a viewer who is asking for some help with a problem. And this one, can't lie, I've read it a couple times, and see, I'm biased. I'm always going to be biased. I'm a female. Sorry guys. But I'm not going to say it's funny, because it's not funny. It's actually real fucked up. But, well, here we go. All right. I just watched your IG Live, and I want some advice. I'm 29 years old, dealing with my girl for 2 years that I live with. And I love her, and she loves me. Last year, she stepped out and had sex with another man and gave me the claps. First of all, I don't even know people still use that word, but all right, cool. That's crazy. She gave me the claps. When that happened, I moved out for a couple months. Then we ran into each other, and like I said, we love each other, so we started talking again, and I moved back in. The problem is the feeling isn't the same. Not that I don't trust her, but since what she did, she doesn't trust me. Like calling me constantly. I can't breathe now, and she was the one who did the cheating. Should I walk away from the relationship that we were working on and love each other when there is no incident because of the overwhelming feeling she gives me, or should I stay because we love each other and work things out? There's no kids, just a dog and a house. Please help. Thanks. Okay, sir. So, you were dealing with a woman who was cheating, came back and she gave you some shit. Thank God it has, a remedy for it and a cure. But this is, ugh. Alright, again, I'm a female. So, if I were talking to a female, I would say, girl, deuces on that man. Like, he gave you something. If he cheats on you again, what if he comes back and gives you HIV? The same shit for him. She may very well be on your top now and trying to kind of like, where you doing? Where you at? Where you like, to the point that you feel like you can't breathe, your words, to the point you feel like you can't breathe, because she very well might still be cheating. It does to me sound like there's a little bit of insecurities in the stance that she obviously cheated on you for some reason in her mind. There was a reason. What that reason is, you need to check with her. You need to ask her why she felt that she had to step out on you. Like, that's number one. If anybody is dealing with a relationship that there is infidelity or whatever the case is, asking that person, hello, asking that person, like, why, is helpful. And not necessarily just accepting, like, oh, I was bored. Or you weren't around. Like, Like, dig in and recognize what the real understanding is. And you might not really want to know, but the truth of the matter is, once you know, if you choose to move forward in that relationship, because that's really your prerogative, if you so choose to move forward in that relationship, you can build on that communication. You can build on that understanding that, okay, this was a hole in our relationship. Let's repair this hole. Okay? So that's number one. Number two, she is obviously insecure. So insecure that she is putting and projecting all of her thoughts and feelings about you stepping out because she stepped out onto you. And that shit is not fair. Men, do you hear me? That shit is not fair. It's not okay that if she stepped out and she's the one who is drawn, for her to be coming at you all crazy. More times than not, it's either because she's afraid that you're going to cheat again, or it's because she's still cheating. Sorry, I know, ladies. I know y'all probably a little mad at me about that, but that's the truth. Like, she's probably about feeling like, again, she's either still cheating, or she is feeling like you're going to cheat. Either way, that is a deep-rooted insecurity within her that she has to work on. Now, what my suggestion would be, anonymous, would be to, number one, encourage her to get therapy, because she should work on herself and figure out what she needs to do to try to better not only herself to care for others, but also figure out what's going on for her, why she is like projecting all of these insecurities onto you. Then secondly, I would definitely suggest that maybe do couples therapy if you really want to work on it with her. I wouldn't suggest just acting like it didn't happen or just continue to roll with it, because it's only going to get worse. Trust me when I tell you. All right. So we have about 2 minutes left. Keep coming with the comments. Keep coming with the love. This is an interactional conversation. Let me scroll. Hi, lovelies. Beat her ass and then leave. No, I don't condone violence on any part in relationships, men or women. That is not cool. Men, if your girl is hitting on you, that is abuse. Ladies, I don't give a fuck what you talking about. I don't care what you say. Oh, it doesn't hurt him. That's not cool. It's not cool. It's not cool for a woman to hit a man because she thinks it's not going to hurt him or he's stronger. It's abuse. Okay, men? It's abuse, and it's unacceptable. And I say this all the time to men, and I say this all the time to women. It's not acceptable. Okay, we think culturally like, oh, it's funny when we see a man getting his ass beat by a woman, but it's really not cool. It's not cool, because if it was vice versa, y'all would be wanting that nigga in jail. Excuse my language, but y'all would. So let's not do that. All right. I don't have my board. Pound, or I would say pound. I'm so old school. Hashtag motivational moment. All right, we about to wrap up. Well, yeah, okay. Well, so we're hearing from the audience that, if she cheating, she need a deuces. Well, that's to each his own. Again, if he wants to stay, my suggestion is, because he's really thinking about staying, my suggestion is to, get a third-party professional help in relation to that. And she needs to get her own help first, and then you guys can potentially come together. But I agree with Gambling Doc. Like, there's too many fish out in the sea to be mistreated. Like, there's too many people out in this world to be mistreated by one. And that goes for both sexes. Okay, if you are being mistreated on a constant basis, leave. There's too many people out here for that shit. So, motivational moment. When it comes to family dynamics, when it comes to interacting with not only your significant other, but also with your parents or your kids or your spouse, you always 100% have to figure out how you are feeling. You have to hold on to your feelings and hold on to what you see and what you hear and all of that. Like all of your senses should be in tune with what is going on for you in these moments, because you're going to have a lot of people projecting and a lot of people saying what they feel you should be feeling, and there's going to be a lot of things that's going to try to alter or persuade what you truly want. You have to go after what you want. You have, despite what anybody else has to say. Like, you might be dealing with a situation where your parents really don't like your significant other, but that is truly like the love of your life and the person that you really see yourself having an amazing life with growth and happiness and love. And you have to pursue that. If that is what makes you happy, then you have to pursue that. However, if these situations that are coming and they're arising, if there are cheating, if there's infidelity involved, if there's a situation where your kids don't like them or there's like conflict and all that stuff, take heed to these things. Again, that part of the brain that lights up when you're in love is the same part of the brain that lights up when you're on drugs. Okay? Literally, I'm not lying about that. So you have to take heed to what others are saying around you and kind of like filter in what's real, could be truthful, and like filter out the bullshit that's just sounds like bullshit. Okay? So, excuse me, I choked on my words at the last minute. I am looking. Yes, there we go. All right, I love your comments, guys. Keep it coming. So I'm going to peace out on y'all and, always give peace, love, and blessings to everybody. And I hope you guys enjoyed my live again. I'm here every Thursday, 9:30. Charli right now. If you haven't said Happy Founders Day to a Zeta, make sure you reach out to one and tell her Happy Founders Day because it is our 100th. Woo! So, happy Founders Day to all my sorors. Enjoy your day. Enjoy your weekend. And angels, please come back and holla at me every Thursday at 9:30. Sex Talk with Charli. I'll see you then. All right? See y'all.